What's up, everybody? This is your boy Black Megas, and we're back with the talk show about everything, giving our E3 impressions. Had a week of different games being shown, but most importantly, all of the conferences went down on the first 2 days. So we're just gonna go over each conference and let you guys know what we thought of each of them, and I guess give a little thoughts on some of the stuff that interests us the most overall for E3. So say what's up, Flying Modem, to the people.
What's going on, y'all? Flying Modem. With background commentary from my girlfriend who's in the car with me.
Hi.
And Yorustrix, go ahead and say what's up to the people.
Hello, everybody. How's it going?
Oh my gosh.
All right.
Bird noises, bro.
So, you've been streaming too much. That's your problem.
40. Today's day 43.
You're losing your goddamn mind. Anyway, all right. So let's go in order of shows. First show was Electronic Arts. They decided to do something a little different, push theirs a day ahead, and do their own thing off-site, EA Play, which they did in London and in LA at a different venue than where E3 was held. But their press conference. Modem, what was your reaction to the press conference?
Well, first, I went to EA Play. That's where I went to play Titanfall 2 and Battlefield 1. So I was there, and it was pretty hype. Like, there was a lot of people there. There was waiting lines to play the game, and it was a nice event. Shout out to Corey Kenshin and MicroATX. I met both of them at EA Play for the first time in person kind of thing. That was crazy because I didn't think I would see anybody I know of there. But it was crazy. It definitely was. They had little people in costumes for the Garden Warfare characters, and that was crazy. They even gave out people free food. Like, you had they gave like a little loot bag, and then inside the EA Play bag, it was a food voucher for like one free meal. So that was dope. But
they're trying to bribe the content creators with food.
They even had a Madden tournament going on while everybody was playing and shit. So that was crazy. But overall, with their press conference, I thought it was pretty good. We got to see some Mass Effect Andromeda, so looking forward to that. Yeah, they announced it, right?
Yeah.
Okay. What you mean?
I said, yeah.
No, Mike said like they did.
You said you got to see it. You sure?
Oh, no, not see, like that, but I mean, they announced it.
Yeah, it's been announced for the last 3 years.
Well, talked about, and it was some, if I'm not mistaken, some talk about changing the name or changing the main protagonist or something like that. They were supposed to be changing. So, but I mean, just overall, especially with, like I was saying on Twitter, EA is going to be killing it this year with their shooters at the very least, because I had a lot of fun playing Battlefield 1 and Titanfall 2. So that's what was mostly engaging for me, because I got the excitement for a trailer that I haven't gotten in a while. Like, I haven't gotten this excited about a trailer since 2007, I guess, when they came out with Halo 3 trailer, the very first one that had like the shield grenade that was like changed and the actual in game. So Titanfall 2's trailer actually got me excited. So overall, yeah, it was cool.
All right, Modem. Sorry. You're not Modem. You're Yorustrix. Whatever your name is, you got a million.
You can just call me Pride. I tell everybody that you don't got to go out of your way to just call me Pride.
Look, we're sticking to your branding. You decided to brand yourself this.
Strix. Look, anything. You don't gotta say.
We can call him YS.
Anime. That's what I'll call you.
Anime. That doesn't
Although
mix
technically
right.
that is a part of my channel name now, so I guess that works.
But it
Yeah,
doesn't really mix because it makes me think of Eat the Cake anime. Like that doesn't really work for me.
I am a J. Cole fan, so I do appreciate that. But EA was it was entertaining.
Okay.
Short of FIFA.
Okay.
FIFA every year is still the worst thing about EA's conference.
Really?
Yeah, because they bring people on stage to talk way too long about a game that
yeah.
is
Jose
like Madden
Mourinho
every year.
was not
It's
comfortable being there.
it's 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 too iterative. Like my issue is that we got apparently there are multiple Star Wars games being built. We were told this, like for
Right.
the
I
Mass
seen
Effect.
that.
We saw
Which
Mass Effect. Okay, Star Wars. Black and I briefly talked about this when we were looking at the conference. I don't want to see people talking about how much they love Star Wars games and are making Star Wars games.
right.
What I want is to see the Star Wars games.
Well,
Like, I just
my
want
problem with it,
gameplay of one
bro.
of them.
My problem with it is so many people are making Star Wars games. Like that is a problem for me in itself. And it's made by different studios. So when one sucks, oh, this would have been better if Dice had made it. Oh, this would have been better if, you know, whoever makes Respawn made this version, and blah blah blah. Like that shit is a problem for me, and
I
I
don't know.
hope it doesn't turn out like that.
I would invite people to look at it as if you didn't like one Star Wars game, there's two others for you to try and possibly like. You don't have to like just because you're a Star Wars fan doesn't mean you have to like every single Star Wars game that ever comes out. I'm happy because hopefully Visceral or Respawn can make like a darker Star Wars game, like a Star Wars 1313, which we talked about. Battlefield 1, the gameplay looks good. I'm gonna give it that. The gameplay looks nice. The gameplay looks good. Saying that, I'm still more excited about Titanfall 2. I think Black and I also had this conversation. I care more about the sci-fi idea than I do about going back in World War time or history. Like I'll take sci-fi over history, and so I think that's why I'm focusing on Titanfall 2. Saying that, Titans with swords, grappling hooks. Oh, so many good things about Titanfall 2. I want that
Bruh,
game in my life.
like I said, I haven't been this excited since like I seen the first trailer for Halo 3, which Halo 3 is my favorite game for those of the people who do not know. And this trailer for Titanfall 2 got me hyped as hell. You know, I think it's a really good thing. Like above all else.
Yeah. Overall, to me, EA could have saved the press conference. They could have just released those video documentaries on their site. No, because pretty much all we know is they're working on stuff. Well, we knew you were working on stuff. We know you're working on multiple Star Wars games. We know you're working on
Right.
Andromeda. You know,
Well, I didn't know the Star Wars thing, but I
yeah,
did
that
know
was
that.
since they got the license. That was said that they
And as well,
first year they announced the license. They told everybody all those studios were working on different
and
games.
the other thing is
So
with Disney pulling out of gaming, it was kind of assumed that like EA was going to take over Star Wars games.
yeah, no, they gave them the license and told them they could make it. And then in 2013, you heard about Respawn. You heard about Visceral. You knew Dice was doing Battlefront.
Oh, Battlefront 2. So we
Yeah,
know.
I mean, you knew that all these studios that they had were going to be going because that's what the license announcement said. So that's kind of been known. It's just that they haven't talked to the studios individually.
We got
So that gave you, I guess, that gave you something. You got to see the faces behind the people making the games. They didn't get to see the damn games or get much of an idea other than Battlefront 2 is coming out next year. You don't really
Yeah.
know
And then they gave
when.
well saying Visceral's is 2018, and then I think Respawn's is 2019. Like they basically said there's going to be Star Wars games every year, and I think they're kind of matching the movies with.
Well, see, and this is the thing. Where's this year's game then?
I think that's the weird
Every
thing.
year after this, I guess.
I think they're gonna do something that has a movie tie-in or a major piece of DLC or something that's gonna come out that's gonna have some reason to say there's a Star Wars game. Because I think as long as the movies are gonna be made, EA realizes they can cash in on that franchise.
Yeah.
Again.
Yeah, but cash grabs don't really go well over in the press, so
You have to make sure
it's
it's not seen as a cash grab, though. Like, I think from
right,
a business
right.
standpoint, you can look at it and be like, oh, yeah, this is definitely a cash grab.
But probably all three of us had this conversation when Star Wars Battlefront was released, and my problem with Star Wars Battlefront was like it was a cash grab, and it was like it lacked the content for the price for me, and so on. And it was like, yes, it's fan service up the ass, and if you're a fan and that's what you want, justify, your purchase and everything. But overall, as a game, it was kind of lackluster. Like one of the things we've had in games for us, like always, for like the past 10 years, is being able to climb up shit, mantling over something. Press the A button or the X button, climb up on this. Like, where is that? That's non-existent in Star Wars Battlefront. Like, that shit is crazy to me.
Yeah, I mean, it's different things. Some people want different mechanics. I mean, didn't bother some people. There's certain mechanics are mandatory for other people. That's understandable. But yeah, overall, I definitely just like EA. I could have did without their press conference. I already knew you were working on games. That was fine for me.
And actually, now that you say that, Black, that actually makes me, feel a little differently towards it because you're right. They could have saved a press
But
conference.
I think that could honestly, without being rude, like, you could do that for most of this year.
I see.
Like most of the conferences this year ended up with me thinking about it. It was like, hey, we're working on games and they'll be coming out starting next year for the most part. Very few people were like, here's why the next 6 months are exciting. It's like, no, see you like at E3
Okay, I guess maybe I should
2017.
clear myself up for you. Yeah, I do know that a lot of people aren't coming out with things just this year, but we
Right.
got to see things about the game in a little more detail than we did with EA.
Okay,
EA did not really again. Andromeda's been on the table for about 3 years now. At this point, I would think that they would have at least a little bit of gameplay to show.
I mean, they had more gameplay when they first announced it than they've shown like in the last.
And that's the thing. It's like you are releasing this in Q1 next year. You might want to give us just a little taste of the thing and not tell us about how great and exciting it is to build this world. We understand that's your job to say that anyway. EA would beat the shit out of you if you don't tell us that anyway.
It's like the game's still here, guys.
Yeah.
Still around.
So that was my biggest thing. It was like they just wanted to assure us that yes, we're still working on games, and they will come out. Thank you for telling us the obvious. Was my impression of EA whole press conference.
No, I get that. I get exactly what you're saying.
But,
Yeah, that's just like also Sony. Well, the biggest disappointment for me with Sony is that they only actually got like 3 games with dates, and not even like they're coming out this year. I don't think, but like there's only 3 games.
Dates don't bother me because the dates didn't bother me with EA. Again,
No, it's not so much that, but like for me, when you go to E3 and you telling us what you're working on, or you're trying to show something, or you're trying to announce something, it needs to be coming within either
but all
the
of them
next
did
year
that.
and a half.
But all of them did like a lot of games without lockdown, dead on date.
And this was
all of them did it, but I'm saying Sony has the most. Like Sony only has 3 games.
This is what I put to you, Modem. This is what I put
That
to you.
doesn't bother.
The only company there, the major company there that I expect that from is Microsoft, because Sony has PlayStation Experience. Why are you going to show everything on E3 when you have literally a thing dedicated to your brand? Save the Uncharted, save the whatever, so that people are like, oh, you want to see what is really coming to PlayStation? You care, watch PlayStation Experience. That's why when they're like, we don't have dates, I'm like, okay, you're just saying watch for us at the end of the year.
That's very true. Yeah, nobody gave any dates. I mean, and that's true. You do get the most dates, PlayStation, because that's their brand thing.
Right. I'm just saying, as far as the games they announced, and I'm not even saying at E3, but like the games they announced, when you go look them up, you only see 3 games from Sony with dates, and
Well,
they're not like this year dates like
that's
well, all
all
right.
from
locked in, but it's
So
like
like
sometime in
this is every
2017.
publisher though.
all the VR games are coming out in
October
October,
13th and
except for Resident Evil,
right
which
after.
is 21st. Beyond that, like anybody that really thought they were going to do a Bethesda and say God of War was coming out this year, you're mistaken. Like,
Yeah, there's nobody really. I
like
can't think of
it's
anybody.
too big of a game
Yeah,
for like it just would be like if they came out and said God of War was just dropping, I'm like, so all those rumors we heard were true. Every year you meant to show it, but you just hadn't. I'm trying to think what else they showed. That I'm still arguing that that Days Gone game.
Mhm.
There's something more to it than what we're getting.
oh, I'm pretty sure because
Yeah,
I've
I would
heard
hope
like
so
when
at the
people
very
play
least.
tested it. Well, they didn't play it; they showed it. They didn't even give them a lot of information. They were like, "We got stuff to tell you, but we're waiting for a certain time to tell you." Was what they told the press.
PlayStation
So,
experience.
yeah.
And I don't like everybody that wants to talk about that game specifically. That game screamed Last of Us to me. I'm sorry. Like, yeah, the zombies are different. But to me, if Days Gone is a tech demo to show you the type of situations you can get into in the next Last of Us game,
Right.
If it were Naughty Dog, I would agree. I don't think Bend is doing the next Last of
I
Us.
feel like the whole zombies survival thing is turning away from zombies and just survival. Because everybody is coming out with some kind of virus outbreak,
yeah,
some kind of disease, some kind
And
of
you know what? I'd still
apocalyptic
prefer that.
scenario. And I mean, to me, either or. Like, it can be zombies, it can be vampires riding unicorns. If
yeah,
it's
exactly.
survival, it's survival. So you're the last, percentage of the population trying to survive. Like, it's the
It's
same story,
a
different shit. Right.
post-apocalyptic
I
survival.
think that's what we should call them, post-apocalyptic
They're just
games from now on.
post-apocalyptic survival games. Like,
Right.
and it's something that has just happened year after year. We always see a new one coming out. I mean, Microsoft had Dead Rising 4, another
Yeah.
for all intents and purposes apocalyptic survival game. Yeah,
Right.
it's a lot more arcadey, but
Arcadey. But
still,
see, but even then, like I'm saying, it's just like it's no longer zombies. It's the feeling
Yeah.
of this is to survive shit, and it's like that needs its own genre in itself, where it's just a
I
survival
think it
game.
does have its own genre. We just won't get over the term zombie.
well,
That's
that's
basically
because
it.
I think because the last few years have become so focused on zombies. Everybody and their mama wanted to make a zombie game that people still just look at them as
Yeah, they
another
just look
zombie
at it
game.
all as like, okay, it's
Like
a
The
zombie.
Last of Us was like it's so grounded in and now people are like The Last of Us was praised because The Last of Us was grounded in reality.
Yeah. But
It
people still
was
look at it as a zombie game. So
yeah.
yeah. But
My-
moving back to what we were saying, EA. Any final thoughts?
EA,
Uh,
every
go ahead, bro.
year I like EA's conference every single year because I think they do an okay job of just they're not the best at showing a bunch of gameplay, but they do an okay job on stage. I just need you not to spend half of the conference with random celebrity one talking about soccer or
But
football. And for those saying that it's the most popular sport in the world, there's Gamescom for that, which is
yeah,
located in Europe.
Cut out.
yeah,
There's Gamescom for spending like a long time talking about soccer,
right.
where you're in
Yeah.
Europe, where you're in places where soccer's far more
Important.
like that big of a sport, and it's
And
not that
that's the
far
thing.
away.
You're gonna get a huge block at Gamescom. So why
And
do it?
that's what my thing is. If you cut what they did with FIFA, yeah, cut what you did with FIFA and give more time to Andromeda and the Star Wars actual gameplay, even if you're showing like very early stuff, like you were doing with like the motion capture, but just do the in-game engine stuff. You flash pieces of it, do that, and your conference automatically jumps up to maybe like third.
Yeah.
But having to listen to fucking FIFA.
Yeah.
What about y'all?
Any final thoughts for you, Morgan?
uh, I mean, we're pretty much saying everything. I would just want, I guess, more dates, more precise dates, and more gameplay for the most part. That's about it. But I mean, I feel like their two flagships right now is Battlefield 1, besides their sports section, which always does well because it's sports. But their flagship, standalone games is Battlefield 1 and Titanfall 2.
Which isn't, I mean, which isn't bad.
No, it's not. I mean, like I said, I played both. I really enjoyed both, and I'm kind of with you, Prod. I don't really care for history. Like we've been there, done that. But Battlefield 1 actually, caught my interest, and Titanfall 2 was type of shit. Like they changed some things, kept a lot of familiarity, and it's still the core Titanfall. So I'm really happy with that. What about you, Mike?
Now, let's move on to the
No. Ain't got no
I mean, I pretty much what I said before is how I felt. They showed me that they made games, so
See, we're the long
good for
ones.
you made games. That's all that there was to the whole press conference.
Yeah.
Bethesda. I'll go first, just really quickly. Bethesda was okay. I mean, they kind of pulled at my old man heart with Quake. I was happy to see Prey. But I mean, other than that, it was good. I think I liked it better than EA because I didn't like the way EA kind of just went to the documentary type style. That didn't sit well with me. Whereas at least Bethesda would show you a trailer or they'd show you gameplay. They give you some detail and then they moved on to the next thing. Which is what I want. I just want to know what you're making, what your game's about. If you have a date, cool. If you don't, you have a window, okay, that's cool. But as long as if you're gonna tell me about what you're making, at least make it stand out. To me, EA didn't make anything stand out that they're making at all. So, Bethesda was overall, it was cool. Definitely not the best, but definitely not the worst.
Absolutely.
So, what were your impressions, Walden?
Pretty much the same thing. The only thing that really interests me, for the most part, was Quake. Some of Quake's remakes and reboots for like the 360 was like kind of bland, but hopefully they can turn things around with this one. So I'm a Quake fan. I even played Quake on the PC, believe it or not. I was like 9 years old, something like that, 11, something like that. I actually played it on the PC, and then like I played the reboot on 360. So I'm interested, and hopefully they do it justice, and we'll have like a Doom kind of nostalgia happening, where they did a good job and it's doing well for itself. But I mean, as far as that, I wouldn't say for me they do so much as a better job than EA, but just as good. It was like whatever.
I can see that. Yeah. What about you, Mr. Yorustrix?
Well, I like one thing. Unlike most people here, most people that watch the conference, from at least if Twitter is to be trusted, as a big fan of the first Dishonored, I loved the coverage of Dishonored 2.
Okay.
For those who have never played Dishonored, it's one of the best in my opinion, like stealth action games that have come out in years.
It is.
Checking that out. Fallout 4 DLC. So Fallout 4 has another year, and I think next year will be when we get another Elder Scrolls game. Speaking of Elder Scrolls, Skyrim got the remaster. People who have ever talked to me know my feelings on Bethesda, Skyrim, and their RPGs. Doom got DLC, and Doom apparently everybody's been telling me that Doom is really good, so that's good. Quake.
Oh, by the way, the demo is available, right?
What? The demo for?
Yeah, they let you play the first. If you haven't played Doom on PS4 and Xbox One, they released the first mission as a demo.
I might have
to call it shareware, the old term we used to use.
Bruh, they're actually. You mean to tell me in the age of betas and pre-orders, they released a fucking demo?
Yes.
You
People
surprised me.
download it now. They made it available as soon as the show was over.
Like, funnily enough people are starting to hate those words that they're starting to get used correctly again. Like, it's really funny. Like, oh, do
You
you
gotta
want to?
think the guy who came out and said it on stage was one of the original
Yeah.
people who worked at id and worked on those games. He was like, "This is what we used to do. This is the thing that we used to do for people, and we're doing that now."
Wow.
There's a.
That's crazy.
I
That's
want.
crazy.
I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna keep this brief. More collectible card games, which I love. I don't care how many people want to joke it. Give me the ability to collect cards, and I will do it.
Okay, but the real question is going to come later after the Microsoft.
Oh, you already know that that's going to be the bigger one.
Which one are you going with?
Is that a question? Just like my RPG choice. That's a clear one. That's a very clear one. And then Prey. It's nice to see a new Prey. We finally hear about what's going on with Prey.
Yeah, I bought water. So.
And so I'm beyond happy. We got a new Prey. Like, Bethesda has a solid conference. Similar to EA, I think I liked it mostly because of Dishonored 2 and the amount of time they spent on it. But they also had enough things. I'm glad that somebody is finally willing to say, we have old properties, let's bring them forward. They saw success with Doom. They do it with Quake. And I think they're the right people to do it. They seem to figure out just how much they need to change and just how much they need to keep the same.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm glad they did a reboot of...
Fallout 4 and Doom VR versions. For everybody that forgot that this year's E3 is about VR. Just a heads up.
I'm just going to play the Doom beta. See, I almost said beta.
Spend an extra $800 to play. Spend the extra $800 to play it in VR, Black.
I don't need to angrily kill demons in VR. I'm good. Although there is a game that I will say definitely piqued my interest when it comes to the VR.
We will
get to try, but we'll get to that later. But last thoughts, gentlemen, on the whole Bethesda thing. 'Cause, I mean, it wasn't a lot, but they showed some really cool stuff.
I think you summed it up best. They weren't the worst, but they weren't the best. A solid effort.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely a solid effort, but for me, it was like nothing new. You know, it's Bethesda, it's RPGs. Like Skyrim getting remastered, it's like people still haven't gotten over these fucking remasters. And on top of that is like, besides Quake and Dishonored, what did they really, besides and Doom and Fallout 4 going to VR, I just feel like they didn't really have anything that was like mind blowing. And it's like, okay, this is cool.
And Modem, really quickly, I guess for me, Bethesda being a publisher, I don't expect them to have as much as Sony or even EA.
Right.
Like, they hit all of their major franchises in some way.
Yeah, that's the thing. You know, they haven't really been that active.
Elder Scrolls.
Franchises.
They added a new one theoretically by bringing back Prey, Doom, and Quake. Like, they showed 6 different titles or 6 different franchises.
That's a lot for them.
Yeah.
But I get what you're saying.
Yeah, no, definitely. Because, like, compared to everybody, that was my whole thing going into this year. Why are they doing another conference? Because what are you going to show? You showed your big gun last year. Now what? But they had some stuff to show. So
I guess it was just to kind of remind people that these things are still coming out. Because it's kind of like people forget, like, with the technology age, things are going by so fast. So they kind of just wanted to remind people. But it was more like, for me, I haven't forgotten that these things are coming out. But it was cool for what it was.
Yeah. All right, so that was day one. Then we go to the better day where we got a lot more. We started off with Microsoft, who had a really, really, really good conference. Like a really good conference.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm switching up and I'm going to go with Prod first.
All right. So I'm going to put this out there right now. As a PC gamer, and I'm saying it because I'm a PC gamer, Microsoft had the best conference to me. Like, hands down, they had the most things that I was like, I have things that I can play, and a lot of things that I can play going forward. It wasn't like it was more than 10 things that I was like, these are coming out. I can get my hands on every single game that you show, and I don't have to buy into your ecosystem, except for the fact that I'm already a part of it because I own a desktop. But saying that, we got more Gears 4 as a Gears head.
Yeah.
I'm not going to complain. Give me more. Shower me, Microsoft, with your Gears of War. We saw what Recore, which found out Recore is only $40, which is great. I can't wait for that because being only $40 is really good. I think it's a good way to get people, convince people to get things. Also, I want the Gears of War limited edition controller, excuse me. God, that's great. Killer Instinct, Forza. And notice, like, I'm like saying games, like if you asked me a couple of years ago, do I care that much about Forza? I would say no. The difference is a racing game that is going to come to PC that I can play. Also, I'll get to that at the end, I guess I should say. Final Fantasy 15 footage. You know, Final Fantasy's all that. What else did they show? Oh, yeah, the thing Black referenced earlier. We're getting a Gwent card game.
I think I'll play more Gwent now that we have that. Because it's hard to play Gwent in the game.
It really isn't. When was the last time you played the
game? No,
it
is because I don't want to sit and waste time doing Gwent when I want to finish the story. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, but have you played Witcher recently, Black?
No, I haven't.
Before the last DLC came out, they revamped the entire UI and how the game functions in a lot of ways.
Oh, Lord.
Like, they did a great update. We Happy Few, which isn't an exclusive, but a game I've been watching. Tekken 7, we got confirmed that it is coming, I believe, to both PC and Xbox One. Dead Rising 4, we finally got Scalebound gameplay. I skipped over Dead Rising 4. I'm not the biggest Dead Rising person. Scalebound, it looks like a Japanese adventure game. Sea of Thieves, it looks like YouTuber bait. YouTuber and/or streamer bait.
They fucked that game with that.
State of Decay 2. The first one I always heard great things about, so I'll probably jump into that. And then I got an RTS. You don't know how happy I am about an RTS.
Oh, yeah, I can't wait for Halo Wars.
Halo Wars 2, and they closed it out with, in my opinion, Microsoft finally being willing to say, we're going to be the people that are going to try to take the lead this time by coming out and announcing Project Scorpio formally. And I think establishing that this is not going to be a cheap console with a lot of the stuff they were saying. When you start saying, if they were serious about talking about VR and 4K and backwards and forwards compatibility, you're talking about a really expensive piece of hardware there.
Well, are you done, Pride?
Yeah, oh yeah, the Xbox.
I'll let you go last since you're the Microsoft person.
Okay.
I forgot the Xbox One S, or as I like to call it, the Xbox Netflix 4K box. Yeah, you can get that as well.
Don't forget HDR gaming.
I don't even. So many things. But yes, Microsoft was, and saying all that, and I sound really sarcastic, but Microsoft, to me, had the best conference. As a person that owns a PC, every single game ended up being relevant to me because I can play every single game that they showed without a problem.
Yeah.
All right, so let me go ahead and go. I'm pretty much in line with Prod in the fact that now that this initiative for Windows 10 seems to be really going strong, I'm settled. I have the PC that's able to run the games that they're going to bring out, and I'm happy that I'll actually get to play a lot of these games on my PC, especially Halo Wars 2, because I got a ton of RTS. I love StarCraft. All these World War II ones I've had over the years. I love stuff like that. So I can't wait for that to hit PC. Get to finally play a Gears game, a recent Gears game. I guess I could go ahead and get Gears 1, but I just haven't taken the time to get it. Got that. We Happy Few is like really, really looking good. I really want to play that game, like a lot. The hardware announcements were cool. The size of the new Xbox was cool. Um, Scorpio again, and I'm with you. It's going to be an expensive piece of hardware because they're moving towards competing with, at worst, budget gaming PCs. I don't. That's going to be your like budget or maybe mid tier. I don't know how far they're willing to go with it, but me and you were talking about it prior. We were saying at least 600, if not more, for that console from the specs and the things that they were talking about. Because the VR capabilities alone are going to push it to that price. But I've always said that I think they're pushing more towards a PC type ecosystem anyway, so it makes sense. I agree with the controller too. Like that controller. Like that controller a lot. But they showed like a lot of cool stuff. I would say the biggest like down moment was, I guess, the presentation part where they showed Minecraft. I thought that went on too long.
Oh, Minecraft was there.
Yeah, the whole like having um, John Carmack playing Minecraft. It's like, okay, y'all are going a little too long with that segment, but overall, it was a really good conference. I like again.
Or
I'm
was it
with you.
because of John Carmack?
Well, I love John Carmack. He's like one of the smartest people in the world. I mean, to be fair, if he could make you buy it, if you need a reason to buy into VR or Minecraft, he's that type of dude that if you give him an hour to talk to you, you will buy fucking Minecraft and a VR headset to play that shit. That's the type of person John Carmack is. So, um, but yeah, I'm getting a lot of stuff on PC um, that I can play. So that's cool. That's cool. All right, Moto, go ahead.
Ah man, there's so much to say and so much to talk about. Like, of course, I'm gonna give it, the best conference because I'm an Xbox fanboy. But no, seriously, like I think they did really well this year, and it was like game after game, and it kept their documentaries very short. The only thing I didn't really have interest in was Final Fantasy because Final Fantasy has like dropped off of me. Um, man, what I was gonna say is to talk about Scorpio. And I personally think it will uh, be cheaper than $600, no more than $600. Reason why I feel this way is because of the advancements which GPU have made, and we don't have much on the 480 that they just announced. But if it does do what they say it can do, and they recently announced the 470 and the 460, which will obviously be cheaper than the 480, if those GPUs can do VR, then I can see the Xbox Scorpio doing VR at a affordable price point.
Funny that you mentioned that because they showed them at the PC gaming show,
Right.
and they talked about the tiers that they're aiming for with both of those cards. The 470 is supposed to be a card more for, I think they said, people who want to. One of them they said it's supposed to be for competitive gamers.
460.
It's basically for streaming.
The 470 I think was 1080p streaming, and 460 was
Yeah,
the esports.
like for the esports people. So they're not building them for VR.
Now, Modem, and honestly, I would agree with you if they were just saying VR. But there's a very big difference between saying you're VR ready. My desktop is VR ready.
Right.
The issue is when you start tossing 4K gaming in there.
Right.
That's where I start to look at it and be like,
Yeah, looking at the specs for the 470 and the 480, yeah, they
Now,
can't.
see,
They have to use a 480.
right now when it comes to that, right? What I'm saying is, right now, the 480 is going to be released, right? And it's going to be $200.
Okay.
Now, the score isn't coming out until the holiday of next year. By then, the 480 is going to be cheaper than $200.
I say maybe $20 cheaper.
And then you have to go with the question again. Are they trying to use, like, again, the step behind method? Or are they trying to be more competitive?
And I think you need a CPU to match the 480. You can't just put any CPU. Like, there are rumors based on the pictures they're showing. Digital Foundry did a video on it. Like, theoretically, the specs of this thing has 12 gigs of RAM. What? This thing has, like, the thing that they showed theoretically would be similar to my PC. And, newsflash, beyond my 970, which is the newest thing, at the time of building my PC, it was $1,000+.
That's without the 970?
Right.
Yeah, because I bought a 670 at the time of release, which was about
Okay, so pull out the video card. What would you say the price was?
You can knock maybe $300 to $350 off the price.
Okay, so it's $700.
But that's the thing. In reality, what you'd be saying is you knock $100 to $150 off, because that's what the 480 theoretically is at. The 480 theoretically is supposed to be able to do VR. And for those that don't know, VR is different than other gaming, because for VR, good VR is supposed to run at 90 FPS consistently. And FPS drops in VR are actually a lot worse than anything else, because it will cause, like, really bad motion sickness, and really bad. So to me, like, saying that if they were to come out and say we're looking at like 4K 30 and VR, maybe, but, and even if they just said VR, I don't have an issue. It's just when you start tossing out the word 4K, like, you're talking about legitimately difficult games. Like, you won't touch The Witcher 3 and, like, these bigger games that require, or any game that's super graphically intensive at 4K. I'd definitely not be able to do VR. Unless your thing is so, like, your thing would have to be perfectly optimized.
Which, that's what consoles are for, but I understand what y'all saying. I just think it won't be
You think consoles are for what?
Optimizing. Like, it's perfectly, it's supposed to be perfectly optimized.
Because it's the iPhone versus Android thing. It's the iPhone is a closed market, so yeah. Like, consoles are far easier to optimize correctly for, as long as developers care enough to. Look, I don't even get started with that.
Yeah,
optimize your games, developers.
That's why I said should. It should be, you know.
Yeah.
But
and go ahead,
even with that, like I said, AMD's been making some advancements, and with that, I think the Xbox Scorpio will have what it needs to do that, you know. And it may be, you know, a bit of a stretch. It may be not as spectacular as they're claiming it to be, but I think even if it gets cool, like, just about there, but not quite, I think that's a damn good job.
See, I don't need them to do what they did with these other ones then. Don't make those big claims, and then when people get them, they don't get the things that you claim.
Right.
That would be a mistake again, to me.
Well, in this one, when they first came out with the Xbox One, y'all remember, they said they can upscale their games to 4K. That shit wasn't real at all. But now, you know, they actually have the GPU power to come close to 4K gaming at 60 hertz. Because I know 4K gaming on high textures and high detail settings takes more GPU power than that. But maybe they can do it on the lowest settings, which still wouldn't look really all that bad. It would be better than 1080p on the lowest settings.
Yeah.
So that's what I look at it.
Yeah, see, I was worried about the performance and resolution, because me personally, 4K is kind of overrated.
If it's a solid 60 and it looks good, I'm happy.
Yeah, like 1080p to me is not a bad. I don't know why people are making this big deal about 4K. 1080p.
Well, it's just that some people are actually playing in 8K and whatever else, so
Well,
the
They're
standard is
playing in
now
upscale in most cases.
like
That's the. It's like you're not playing natural.
like
Yeah,
it's
that's
one of those things
another.
where it's the EP thing. Like
Yeah.
I'm playing in 28K. Why? Because I can. Like okay,
All right. Yeah.
it doesn't.
Like meanwhile,
Like I
you're
just
chugging
like,
along.
and again, it goes back to that whole PC and console argument where
Yeah,
it's gotten more and more out of hand.
it has.
Now beyond that,
All right. So beyond the console, what is your impressions? Because you didn't really
they
say
did the
much
best
about it.
job.
right.
Like they are 100%. They did the best job. But go ahead. Oh, you mean modem? Sorry, I apologize.
Yeah.
No, it's
Stupid.
straight. Just Recore, I'm excited about because it's made by two great like game makers and publishers and shit like that. So I'm expecting, it's from the people who made Metroid Prime and so on. So I'm expecting great platforming and great gameplay. Uh, Recore has been on my radar for a while, and I'm glad we got to see a bit more of it. Halo Wars 2, I heard the first one was really good, so I'm excited to see what this one is about, and hopefully to give us a little bit more lore of the Halo universe and what's going on. But I like how they're pushing cross-platforming, and that needs to be pushed because we should not just be. It should not be locked to you play with us on Xbox Live and that's it. I would love to play with my people who got a PlayStation or who's just strictly PC or whatever. That would be cool. Uh, what else did they show? The Xbox S, coming out with more hard drive space, and coming out at the price point that it should come out of. It's not like they're charging $500 for these, so that's really good on their part. I just feel like Microsoft had a flawless, for the most part, conference this year. They didn't really stick to one thing too long. Even the Minecraft thing, it went on kind of long, but it wasn't like a pointless kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like even when they started showing VR, it was to show that you can, even with VR, join in on this, and like these people are on different things and still playing the same game. And they may have stressed that point a bit too long, but it was, it was cool for the most part. Gears, like what I'm seeing with Gears, the characters seem cool. The one thing I would say is like the scripting seems a bit off. Like they're trying too hard or something to make us relate to characters we only got like 5 minutes of. So that was kind of weird. But what do you call it? The Gears controller is what surprised me. Like, and I love the way they presented it. That shit was funny. Had the sound effects going on and then marking up the controller with the pain and the scratching. Like that a lot. So, them having customizable controllers with the colors and all that shit, that was cool. And I said when they was making the Elite controller, they were taking a shot at the aftermarket, and I knew the Elite controller would be super successful. So them allowing people to customize the colors of their controllers is going to be even more successful, and that's cool. Man, what else did they show? Am I forgetting anything?
Not really. A bunch of just Dead Rising, Forza.
Right. Forza. I've never been interested in Forza until now. And that seamless joining people's game shit, that was really cool. The different cars, the cinematics of everything, that was really dope. And then announcing new consoles. That's one of the things I was forgetting. Announcing new consoles, but like, even if you don't buy these new consoles, or even if you do, the games that worked on the original Xbox One won't be like left behind. So none of that, backwards compatibility bullshit. Man, like I really feel like they had a flawless conference for the most part.
And I want to say this because Mono, you brought up a point that I think I talked with Black about, but I didn't make it, I guess, here. The reason why, and the biggest indication to me that the Scorpio is going to be more expensive, to PC gamers out there, because a lot of PC gamers seem to have wanted to weigh in on this. The Xbox One brand is not dead, nor is Microsoft looking to kill off the Xbox One brand. I
Right.
think they're creating a tiered system like the iPhone, where you have the entry level, which is going to be the Xbox One S.
Right.
You then have the Scorpio, and then you'll have their PC platform.
Right. And
Give
like
you
we were
more
talking about Prod with the console a year thing, I can see them doing that more now than ever. And especially with their tier system being the entry level Xbox One, and then like you have the S, and you also gonna have the Scorpio. And like I can see the Scorpio being the one where like, oh, here's some upgraded specs every year, but it's still a Scorpio. I can see that very clearly. Mike?
Go ahead. Oh no, I have really nothing to add.
So,
I thought he
I
was going
mean,
to say
other
something.
than that, man, especially like I said, the cross-platforming and everything. There's talks that Halo 6 will be coming to PC on the Windows
I'm
side
pretty
of things.
sure since he said that pretty much everything is going to be from now on. And I don't doubt it, and I don't doubt that Halo 5 is coming either, or 4.
Yeah.
So.
Like I said, that shit is I think they had a flawless conference, man. Now all they need to do is create a headset that blows everybody else away. No, I'm just playing. Totally playing on that.
Oh yeah, we'll see. All right. Next was PC Gaming Show. Not sure. Probably gone. He's probably the best person. So I mean, me personally, it was a boring show.
What are you
Their
talking
format's
about,
just
Mike?
horrible. Their
PC
format's horrible.
is
No,
PC
it's
is the
see,
most
this is the
exciting thing
thing.
ever.
What they showed, awesome.
Right.
How they present it sucks.
Yeah.
That talk show format is god awful to me. I know Prod said during our conversation he didn't mind it, but the talk show thing where they're doing on-stage interviews with developers. See, one of the things that make things like the slow part of Microsoft or the slow part of EA with the documentaries that makes them that slow, in my opinion, is that, hey, look, I'm a geek, but I know how most geeks talk. We're not the most entertaining, engaging people. It's awkward. Too technical for most, especially when most gamers don't care about all that technical stuff. They just want to see the games.
Right.
So sitting down on the couch and doing a Q&A with devs ain't entertaining. Cliffy B was the most entertaining because Cliffy B, he's learned over the years how to conduct an interview and be entertaining. Most devs, they sit in the background, they don't. No, really, so it's just not entertaining. Stuff that the show look cool, but you kind of forget it because you sitting there listening to them talking, droning on.
Yeah.
And it kind of goes away. I mean, they showed the cool stuff. They showed some really funny stuff. The VR backpack was hilarious. Because everybody needs a backpack laptop to play VR on.
Right. For like, what did they say, 90 minutes or something like that?
Yeah, I forgot what they said the battery life was, but it's like, okay.
But I was like, we're gonna hold a big ass backpack for like an hour and a half just to play some VR on the go. Like, you gonna get the fuck out of here with that shit.
Yeah,
It's never that serious to me, and that's just me. Like the idea of it is cool, but like I thought it was gonna be like some shit to add to gameplay, but it doesn't even really add to gameplay. Like, can you imagine having on the VR headset, right, and then having like a gun and like to reload, you actually have to reach back and touch the backpack, and then that activates a reload. You know, and like from behind, when you pick your hand up and you look down at your hand, you actually got a magazine in your hand, and then you gotta like put it onto the guns, and it, you know what I mean, Mike? Like shit like that would add to gameplay and the whole VR experience. But just to play VR, that doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, and I mean, I liked Killing Floor. I liked Warhammer. Day of Infamy looked cool. Was kind of still in awe that Armor 3 is still dropping releases. That's funny. Yeah, they had some cool stuff, but again, I just didn't find the show entertaining. Then they ran way too long because they cut into the beginning of the Ubisoft stream, and
Oh wow.
we were watching it on Twitch, and Twitch immediately cut them off. It was like, look, Ubisoft's starting, so we got to switch over. But you can go to the PC game and stuff and watch theirs, because they took EA slot and they just were running extremely long and slow pace, and yeah, definitely
that's crazy.
Definitely good without seeing the end of that. But I mean, material wise, it was cool. Just they have horrible presentation.
Yeah, I'm you know, with my recent entry into PC. I won't talk too much about that. I'm like saving it for a video on my channel. But I'm so much into tech now than I was before. Like I'm turning into Prod, and like Prod isn't here to talk about it. But them announcing the 470 and the 460. What you think about that?
Those are cool mid-level and lower tier cards. Personally, if you're gonna buy any of the Polaris series from AMD, just go ahead and get the 480. That is the better purchase. They're not that much cheaper, and unless you're on a budget, if you're not on, if like, okay, let me put it this way: if you're on a strict budget, then yeah, those are fine for gaming. But if you're not, you know what? You're not going to kill your wallet by getting the 480, because 480 is going to give you the flexibility. So maybe you do decide to buy a VR headset.
Right.
You can do that. You can do other things, use 4K monitor. You know, it gives you that flexibility for a cheap price. Now, I will say this: wait for extensive tests too, because you know I don't think we've yet to get any real big, feedback on how well those cards run. But if they run at a good enough rate, hey, go for it.
Now, I'm with you as far as the testing goes, because we do need to see more real-world tests. You know, we definitely need to see more numbers and more actual, like, statistics and everything. What has me excited about it is the pricing, and if the capabilities are true, what it does, because that's going to bring Intel and NVIDIA down a notch and make it more competitive, because there's no point in buying a 1080 or a 1070 for $100+ more, depending on which one you buy, and I can get same or near the performance for $200. So that's one of the things that has me excited. And like you said, if you're on a budget or you're doing something specific, like AMD is looking really fucking nice right now. Really fucking nice. And if I'm not mistaken, 480 isn't like their flagship. Like that's the one they put out first and people are calling it its flagship, but I know they're probably gonna come out with a 490 and probably a 490X. So it's like it's no telling how much further they're gonna go with that. But on the side of things, like we're saying with their CPUs and everything, I think their new generation of CPUs coming out is going to be crazy. But what kind of has me upset is, I built my PC and I paid $200 for my fucking GPU, and my GPU compared to this 480, it's like 1/3 of the performance or something like that, and it costs the same. So that got me kind of hot,
Yeah, welcome to the world of being a PC owner. This is the life that you're gonna lead as long as you're in it. Trust me on that one. All right, so moving on. Next, we had Ubisoft, and Ubisoft's extra long for no reason.
Yeah.
Conference.
It was.
What were your thoughts on their conference?
For me, for the most part, it was like same old shit. Like, whatever. Like, Watch Dogs 2, the trailer, if I'm not mistaken, leaked before E3, so it's like, no surprise there. I'm not really sure what they were going for with the Watch Dogs 2 trailer. I kind of got like, you're the super smart kid that didn't have any friends because you were like a fucking socially awkward weirdo, and then you went to a rave and you were like, look at all the cool shit I can do with my phone. I can hack into shit. And people were like, oh man, that's dope. And then you felt like you belonged somewhere, and now you're a criminal going to rave parties, hacking shit with your phone. Like, that's kind of what it gave me. And I was like, huh, okay. So, whatever. I don't know. Like, I just don't know how to feel about that shit, yo. So, it's fucking Ubisoft. Like, I really don't know what else to say. And then, like, throughout most of it, it was just, like, whatever to me. Like, I don't know. I'm just uninterested,
Well, so what were your impressions of Ubisoft?
They were one of the weaker conferences. I think Aisha Tyler is still and forever will be the best host at E3. However many years they have her do it. She is the best. But beyond that, I mean, they showed a decent number of games I was interested in. South Park looked good. For Honor, the more I see of For Honor, the more I want For Honor now, and not Valentine's Day. It's very similar. I separate them with like the EAs. Like, it was too many interviews. Like, and that's something I guess I'd say to all the big companies. Like, if you're gonna do a conference, please keep the interviews to like after the conference. Like, it's just better. You're better off that way.
Yeah. It's funny to me to do interviews at E3 because I feel like I don't look up interviews as a person, no matter what it is, until I'm generally interested in what I'm looking up and I want to know more about it. That's when I look up for interviews. So if, for instance, an artist I listen to is Mick Jenkins. He's a rapper. My cousin put me onto him. I fell in love with his music. When I wanted to know more about Mick Jenkins that I cannot get from his music, I went and looked up interviews. So for me, when you look at E3, it's supposed to show you this is what you should be excited for. And when you get excited about that shit, then you go onto Google or whatever, search engine you use, and you type up Watch Dogs 2 interviews. Whoever the fuck develops Watch Dogs 2 interviews and shit like that. And then it go, oh, look, here's an interview with the developer talking about the making of the game and blah, blah, blah. So doing interviews during E3 is so like lackluster and just backwards to me. Like I don't understand that shit.
And I think, and again, I think it's just the general approach or like perspective that people take. Like as I enjoyed interviews just to hear the devs approach the stuff, but I think like especially during conferences that you should not have somebody sitting on stage. Like I love LeVar Burton more as much as anybody else. I love him, but I don't need him talking about VR Star Trek for 15 minutes. I mean, Ubisoft, they showed enough games where I was like, okay, we got Fractured Butthole. And I'm just going to start calling that South Park because I can't.
The titles is catchy. I'll say that. The titles are catchy as shit.
Steep, a.k.a. like Fear Simulator. I don't know, like EA, like it's similar to EA where I just was left like, okay, you had a good conference. You didn't wow me.
I think of all things, Ubisoft was the weakest, like bottom tier, absolute bottom. Maybe before PC, as far as enjoyment.
Yeah, Ubisoft, they just ran too long. I mean, I like some of the stuff, but they ran too long. Definitely interested in South Park, Steep. Watch Dogs, the characters didn't really do anything for me.
Like a pack your kids at a rave, right?
But he's black.
It was full of potential.
Are we supposed to be excited about that?
But he's black.
I feel like that's the worst part about it.
Like Pharrell, who did this theme, he's a pretentious little black motherfucker.
Like,
okay.
I feel like that's the worst part about it.
But Mafia 3 and being black.
They tried to appeal to the urban culture by making a black protagonist. Like, you know how people do? Like, this is what black people are into now. Raves and multicolored shit. And being on your cell phone all the damn time. That shit is so stereotypical, bro. It's an insult. I can't stand that shit.
I just look at it as like, but it worked. Like, and this is a very side note. The issue,
or better yet, probably he's gonna be some black kid that lost his parents, or his dad was never around, and so he went into a life of crime.
But
I'll
make the point to everybody though. Like, that's how people like. The issue is not just that we don't have enough black main characters. The issue is like, we single-handedly praise any developer that puts a black character in a game. Like, I get that it's not a frequent thing, but that's not something to necessarily be praised over. Yeah. I would rather have more good characters than to just have more black characters in video games. A good character shouldn't matter regardless of their
characters that are accurate. You know how like what are you saying, Pro?
I'll make an argument to you because this comes up in books, this comes up in movies, and all forms of media. Right. If somebody isn't given the opportunity, like I expect, like if some random, and this is not talking to me, if some random white guy is trying to write about my life, how much does he actually know me as a person, my culture, X, Y, and Z? Saying that if he never writes about it, he's never going to get any better. Like, we need to stop expecting people as well to, like, their first try is not going to be this flawless. All I'm hoping for out of Watch Dogs 2 is that he is better than Aiden Pierce, which is really fucking easy to do. But if he's a better character than Aiden Pierce, then
there's another character in Watch Dogs 2?
Look, that game still pisses me
There
off.
was. They said the DLC with his friend was good. And
yeah, apparently the black
character.
Oh, and that's the other thing. The black dude in the DLC was
stoner
popular,
dude.
so.
I mean, yeah, Ubisoft, they did what they do. It was Ubisoft. Like I said, it was just way too long for me. Anyway, last conference, Sony. All right. Who wants to go first?
Let me go first because I probably have the least to say about it. Sony still has not wowed me, and I feel like they're like trying to pull at anything they can fucking grab. Like it was one of those panicking at the office. They're like, "Yo, E3 is here. What the fuck we gonna do?" Everybody's like throwing paper everywhere. They're like, "Yo, what we got? What we got demos for? God of War. Let's do a Crash remastered. Shit. Is there anything else?" And they just kind of threw some shit together. Like I said, they only got 3 games with dates, and I'm saying dates with quotations. Like, and they're saying sometime in 2017, these 3 games will be released. All these other things are to be determined. And for me, E3 is about what's coming out in the near future, not whenever you decide to release the shit. And I know they got their little Sony experience
Ain't that
going
the same
on.
thing?
Huh?
Ain't coming out in the future, and when we decide to release it, the same thing?
No,
Just-
not necessarily. But I'm saying like near future, which is like I said, a year and a half maybe is the max for me. But like
Yeah,
to be
but
determined is
not
like
saying
we don't know
everything
when
they
we gonna
did,
release
but
this shit. But here's some
outside of
shit.
God of War and Days Gone, everything's coming out between now and 2017.
Oh, don't forget Norman Reedus Ass Simulator.
Oh yeah, that. Those are the 3 games that don't have any like release window.
Unless
Everything
something
else,
has changed from the list I've
2017.
seen. Unless something changed from the list I've seen, because I'm speaking on the list that I've seen, and they were like saying
Okay,
all
name
the
the
games
list
at
that
All
you.
right,
E3.
well,
I can
Okay,
tell
now I
you
gotta
like
find
everything
all
that
right.
was
So,
there.
tell,
Go ahead, go ahead and give your impression.
all right.
Yeah.
So let's. I'm just gonna run down the list really quickly. So, God of War.
Yeah.
We all knew it was coming. Every year it's been predicted, and we finally got footage of it. Like Modem said with God of War, this is just in development. And for those wondering what that means, the last time a video I can think of, a major game, was shown at Sony's E3 conference with the words "in development," it was Kingdom Hearts 3. Just for some info, think about it. The game still isn't. It doesn't even have a release date, so we're at least a couple of years off for God of War. Just want to put that out there, unless something really surprising happens. Next up, you have Kojima's new project. Again, this is just a concept. It's basically Sony saying "fuck you, Konami," and I'll get back to why that's really important at the end. Last Guardian finally got a release date, which great. I'm happy for it. It's the one game at Sony's press conference more than anything else that I was like, I needed you to do this. I needed this, and so we got that. Final Fantasy 15. We already had a release date for Final Fantasy 15, and they just showed us that you can play in VR. Horizon Zero Dawn, we got that is coming out early next year. Detroit is next year, I believe. Detroit becomes
Yeah, they said 2017.
fuck David Cage, by the way.
Oh my god.
Resident Evil 7, January 24th, 2017. That was probably one of the bigger surprises. Everybody knew about God of War. Nobody knew about Resident Evil 7. Everybody, myself included, thought it had something to do with PT, which
Yeah.
it still looks like it has a lot to do with PT. Days Gone, their new IP. I don't believe they gave like a release window for that.
No.
Call of Duty, which I will make this statement. I am interested in the campaign of a Call of Duty game. Don't care about the multiplayer. I don't care about most multiplayers,
Right.
but it looked interesting, and then I saw it was Call of Duty, and I was kind of turned off. That's not me being rude. It's just Call of Duty gameplay can be very hit or miss for me. The Spider-Man game, another big surprise. I don't think that had a window. Maybe next year. I'm not sure.
No.
Then we had the PlayStation VR stuff with most of the titles they showed, or all the titles in that section. So Starfield.
Yeah, I think he said that these are games that are showing on release or
Yeah, the 50
soon
launch
after the release.
so
They gave that window for those.
between October 13th, 2016, and immediately they're following. So I'd say like a couple of weeks. Star Wars Battlefront X-Wing Missions is coming out. Batman Arkham VR is coming out. Farpoint VR is coming out, along with a new controller for shooters, which I think a lot of people didn't know because they showed it afterwards. Crash Bandicoot is getting remastered, as well as having a Skylanders game, as well as Lego Star Wars Episode 7. So basically, and I had this conversation with Black at the time. Like between now and the end of the year, it's VR pretty much. VR and Last Guardian. That's what they're saying. Next year is when we're gonna probably have a major Sony title once every 2 to 3 months, if that, if it takes that much. I think they did a great job with their conference. I can see, and I would argue that I wouldn't, even though I say Microsoft is the best conference because I'm
Yeah.
more of a PC gamer now, Sony could easily be argued as having the best conference. Now, I made the fuck you to Konami reference and why that was so important. Microsoft brought out conferences that was just like, here's a bunch of games that isn't targeted towards any one specific group. And that worked, and that was really good for just somebody that just cares about gaming in general. What Sony has done the last few years is they've played the fan service card, where they are specifically targeting hardcore core gamers with their concepts, their ideas, their approaches to their conference. What do they want? They've been yelling about a Crash Bandicoot remake. What do they want? They've been yelling about God of War. What do they want? Horizon Zero Dawn. What do they want? Actual survival horror. Give them, like, that's why I think you were on point, but I think it had less to do with them scrambling at the last minute and more than them saying, like, last year we got Shenmue 3. Like, they're literally just being like, what are things that we know they're going to love? Let's have a short conference of just all of that. None of the other BS that they talk about in every other conference. Just, here's some games that we know you're going to like because you've been yelling at us to make them for years. And that's why their conference is always strong, because everybody has at least one thing in Sony's conference that they can lose their shit over. Saying that, the VR was probably the biggest surprise for me, with the Star Wars Battlefront and the Batman Arkham VR games making me seriously think about having to buy a VR system within this year, or buy a Sony VR within the first few months of it coming out. Overall, PlayStation and Microsoft, you can argue one or two, but they're both basically at the top of the
Let's
line.
say 1-1.
Yeah, not even one or two. Yeah.
Like, from what I was looking for from E3, I got what I want from both. It's stuff that I could play.
Yeah.
That I'm interested in playing. You know, I appreciate Sony but doing the short thing, because we were all worried that the VR thing was going to be that Wonder Book moment where they were going to go on and on, but they were like, no, we're giving you the date for the headset. It's the 13th. Everything that we're going to show you is going to come out either on the 13th or around the time. So these will be games that you can play on your headset when you get it, or very soon after, which was an appreciative nod to anybody who really is into VR and want to get the Sony VR. They gave the Last Guardian date, which is something that people were looking for. They showed a Sony Ben's game, which everybody's been asking about, the Sony Ben game. Crash Bandicoot's coming back remastered. They said early next year is when it's coming. They showed the Spider-Man thing, which people have been speculating on. So you're going to get a Spider-Man again. They didn't give a date, but I think we could all safely assume that whenever the Spider-Man movie is coming, that's when you should expect that game to be coming. We knew about Horizon, Final Fantasy, all those release dates, so the stuff that they showed for that we knew about. I like the turn they took with God of War. It looks like they're going to actually make him into an actual character, finally, instead of a caricature, which he's always been. At least in my perspective, but yeah,
Right.
I love the fact that they decided to keep it tight, keep it short, just show their stuff, not go on about it, and leave it. And that's where I guess the only thing I would disagree with Mo is, like, everything that we've named, with the exception of 3 things, they gave dates or date windows. Right. So I'm curious as to why you feel like they didn't give.
I'm trying to find the list right now,
because we just told you exactly what they said.
Right.
Also, there's one thing for those out there that wanted to try VR. Starting today, there should be demos arriving at retailers at various places around the country. If you want to try
or
out
PlayStation
VR. Washington, D.C.
really?
is one of the places. I'll look up. I'll send you the link, Black, So that you
I could probably guess that it's going to be at the Sony store.
well, that would make a lot of sense.
So I kind of
So get out there and
they
try
said
VR.
so they're now at Best Buy and GameStop. Okay.
So I only say that because to everybody there, you don't have to listen to me herald the coming of our great VR overlords. You can go try it and commit yourselves to them yourselves.
Okay, so the list of the people that were saying like it's not coming out, it says The Last Guardian was October 25th, Gran Turismo Sport was November 15th, Horizon Zero
Okay,
Dawn.
you talking about stuff that they have or stuff that they showed on the show? Because we were talking about stuff on the show. That was our focus. Was these
right. So these wasn't.
They didn't show Gran Turismo at the show.
Okay, so Days Gone.
Yeah,
that was at the show.
That's a
God
new
of
IP
War.
though.
Right.
God of War.
God of War.
That's
Spider-Man.
Those are the two that we said.
Detroit Become Human.
Yeah, 2017 is what they said.
Okay, see here it says in development, and then Death Stranding in development. Those last five I just named.
Death Stranding. Did they show Death Stranding at the show?
Yeah, that's Kojima's new game.
Oh, that was the third.
So the last five I just named, they said it was in development.
People's issue is that I think they were thinking like the biggest titles weren't given actual release dates, like concrete release dates. They weren't even given like quarters. They were just like, yeah, it's coming next year.
So the your issue is like the biggest titles were not that they didn't get release dates.
I mean, I just look at it as we had, of the things you announced, we had God of War, which everybody knew was in development, but nobody knew how far. Kojima's new project, which if you follow Kojima on Twitter, he's a big ass troll that's just been teasing out the game for the last 6 months. Detroit, we only got that at Paris Games Week last year. So we just got Detroit, so we didn't really know much. We just finally got gameplay of that.
Yeah, it's just like Dead Rising 4, no real date, but I'm fine with that because it's cool. But see, Scalebound, so no real date, but I want Scalebound, so I'm willing.
Right.
So
but Mike, it's not so much I have a problem with it. It's like not just Sony, it's everybody. I don't like when anybody does it. E3 is not for what you're in developing. It's for what's coming out.
That's kind of what E3 is.
Here's what I'll tell you, and Modem. I think you're thinking of E3 from like 5 years ago.
Yeah, you're thinking
E3 is no longer the biggest platform in gaming. Honestly, the stuff you're looking for, you'll probably see more on Twitch and YouTube than you will ever see at E3 anymore.
Yeah.
Because at this point, they recognize wasting that much money to be like, here's our thing that's coming out versus saying, hey, you're Lyric. Go ahead and play this game.
Right.
Look at what Lawbreakers did. Lawbreakers really quite like, oh yeah, we're gonna have an alpha. Here's some streamers playing it. We show up to E3. Here's the game. Here's a new map. And guess what? The beta starts next week, and it has no NDA, so you can record video and stream it yourselves. That's what the new movement is, in my opinion, when it comes to like gaming.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. The ecosystem of E3 is dwindling down. It's the reason why EA left and didn't do the stage thing. They wanted to do their own thing. They wanted to give people like you the opportunity to, not just people who could get into E3, everybody can get in and try Battlefield and try Titanfall. That's the wave that it's going to go to. Or like with Sony PlayStation Experience, we're going to create this. If you're really into the PlayStation, this is an event for you because all we're going to do is just to do a show for you. Or like how Gamescom has kind of become the biggest event worldwide because they have the only day that you're not allowed into Gamescom as a public person is the conference day. And they're not doing anything anyway. The floor's not open. It's just they're doing those conferences, but every day of the whole entire Gamescom event, the public can walk in and play the games. You know what I mean? Other places are starting. people are starting to gravitate to those because you get a lot more contact with the people. Twitch is a lot more contact with the people. Doing your YouTube live streams is a lot more contact with the people. Your own events, or doing like the Best Buy thing. That's more contact with the people instead of just the media thing. So the media can talk about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
E3 is kind of like, it's not what it was. It's really fell off over the.
And it's like, I know people like Prod said, with not saying a game has a release date, it's like these games don't come out at all. It's been like 3 years since Kingdom Hearts has been released on like at Sony's press conference in E3, and I know people who are still waiting. Like the reason they won't buy an Xbox One, and people have said this to me, is because they're waiting for Kingdom Hearts to come out on the PS4. It's been like 3 fucking years. Even when I tell them it's coming out on the Xbox too, they still are waiting for the PS4.
Well, yeah, it's
before the
like
Kingdom Hearts come on the
Crackdown.
PS4.
I was disappointed I didn't see Crackdown.
Yeah, I was too. I was waiting for that, but I think they're gonna show that at Gamescom.
Yeah, and see, that's the better place because you can say, here, the people who are going to buy it can play it, not the press. The people who will buy it, and it will make a bigger splash. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I can see that. I just don't like it when people or developers say some shit like "to be determined." Like, I don't want it to be determined. Like, I want you to be like, "This is what we've been working on. This is like what you should be excited for, and it's coming out very soon."
I guess that's because we're getting this like landscape change. Now we know too much anyway. There was a time, like, I know me, I've always said this, I would rather go back to the time where it was just magazines, because we didn't know about stuff until they were about to come back, when it was just magazines. But with the internet and all of this technology, social media, it's hard to keep anything secret, because hell, people knew about Dead Rising was coming.
Yeah.
People knew that fucking God of War was coming. People saw the Watch Dogs trailer, because people like technology has made it absolutely hard, even if you're not even near coming out with your game, to keep it on the low until you're ready. So
Yeah.
that's just the way it's going to be. That's why I'm glad that E3 is kind of moving away, and these companies are deciding, fuck it, we'll do it on our own.
Yeah, I
because
can
it's
see
a lot
that.
more better.
It's just kind of annoying to me. That's what I don't like.
Overall, E3 to me, I mean, it was cool.
I think it's one of its better
E3?
years compared to like 3 years ago. This has definitely been one of its better years, because it was like 1 year everybody was like E3 was ass. So I think it was definitely one of its better years.
Yeah. What about you, Prod? Ooh, I think he might have to step away. Well,
Well, what you think?
we're wrapping it up anyway. But yeah, overall, I thought they were cool. Sony and Microsoft were my favorites. EA and probably PC Gaming were my worst.
Over Ubisoft?
Huh?
Over Ubisoft?
Ubisoft's problem was they were just long. To me, presentation, like I said, they had length issues with their presentation. They had, but I still think their presentation. That's just me. Their presentation was better, and you saw, at least, like, for all the boringness, you saw shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
that's true.
So yeah, and South Park kind of raised them up too, but yeah, it was a good E3. Can't wait for the next year. But just really quick, when are you getting back to videos?
Man, shit, hopefully soon. Work has been kicking my ass, man. Like, I recently got promoted to full-time. So instead of what I was doing, like 66 hours a week, I'm doing, not 66 hours. Where I was doing like 32 or 34 hours a week, I'm doing 40 hours a week now. So it's like been kicking my ass, and I haven't gotten my schedule down quite yet. But really soon, really, really, really soon, I'm gonna show I got some footage. I'm gonna show my day of going to the EA Play event, and then I got some other shit coming out where I'm explaining a bunch of different things, and a video I'm gonna talk about the PC that I built and my experience with that.
All right, cool. All right, well, Prod is away, but I'm sure he'll be streaming soon. So look out for
Yeah.
him to be. He's still keeping to his 4 year streaming. He's at 40. He's in the mid 40s in the days in a row. But check out his channel. All his links will be in the description. Most Modem's links will be in the description. So I think that's it. So go ahead and say goodbye to the people, sir.
All right, y'all. We'll definitely catch y'all on the next one.
All right. I hope you guys enjoyed, and we will definitely see you next time on the talk show about everything. All right, everybody. Peace.